People who know little are usually great talkers, while men who know much say little. I prefer liberty with danger than peace with slavery. Man is born free, and everywhere he is in chains. The world of reality has its limits. The world of imagination is boundless. I would rather be a man of paradoxes than a man of prejudices. It is too difficult to think nobly when one thinks only of earning a living. To be sane in a world of madmen is in itself madness. What wisdom can you find greater than kindness? Why should we build our happiness on the opinions of others when we can find it in our own hearts? Every person has a right to risk their own life for the preservation of it. To write a good love letter, you ought to begin without knowing what you mean to say, and to finish without knowing what you have written. Or, rather, let us be more simple and less vain. Those that are most slow in making a promise are the most faithful in the performance of it. Civilization is a hopeless race to discover remedies for the evils it produces. I have never thought, for my part, that man's freedom consists in his being able to do whatever he wills, but that he should not, by any human power, be forced to do what is against his will. I perceive God everywhere in his works. I sense him in me. I see him all around me. Everything is good as it comes from the hands of the maker of the world, but degenerates once it gets into the hands of man. In respect of riches, no citizen shall ever be wealthy enough to buy another, and none poor enough to be forced to sell himself. In truth, laws are always useful to those with possessions and harmful to those who have nothing. From which it follows that the social state is advantageous to men only when all possess something and none has too much. There are times when I am so unlike myself that I might be taken for someone else of an entirely opposite character. I hate books. They only teach us to talk about things we know nothing about. Trust your heart rather than your head. The truth brings no man a fortune. As soon as any man says of the affairs of the state, "What does it matter to me?" the state may be given up for lost. There is nothing better than the encouragement of a good friend. We must powder our wigs. That is why so many poor people have no bread. Love, known to the person by whom it is inspired, becomes more bearable. Once you teach people to say what they do not understand, it is easy enough to get them to say anything you like. It is easier to conquer than to administer. With enough leverage, a finger could overturn the world. But to support the world, one must have the shoulders of Hercules. The only moral lesson which is suited for a child, the most important lesson for every time of life, is this: never hurt anybody. Absolute silence leads to sadness. It is the image of death. All wickedness comes from weakness. The child is wicked only because he is weak. Make him strong. He will be good. He who could do everything would never do harm. She was dull, unattractive, couldn't tell the time, count money or tie her own shoelaces. But I loved her. Falsehood has an infinity of combinations, but truth has only one mode of being. A born king is a very rare being. The people of England regards itself as free, but it is grossly mistaken. It is free only during the election of members of Parliament. As soon as they are elected, slavery overtakes it, and it is nothing. If there were a nation of gods, it would govern itself democratically. A government so perfect is not suited to men. To renounce liberty is to renounce being a man. To surrender the rights of humanity, and even its duties. I feel an indescribable ecstasy and delirium in melting, as it were, into the system of being, in identifying myself with the whole of nature. Nature made me happy and good, and if I am otherwise, it is society's fault. People in their natural state are basically good. But this natural innocence, however, is corrupted by the evils of society. There are always four sides to a story. Your side, their side, the truth, and what really happened. Those people who treat politics and morality separately will never understand either of them. The freedom of mankind does not lie in the fact that can do what we want, but that we do not have to do that which we do not want. Insults are the arguments employed by those who are in the wrong. The money you have gives you freedom. The money you pursue enslaves you. The falsification of history has done more to impede human development than any one thing known to mankind. One can buy anything with money except morality. Social man lives constantly outside himself. The greatest braggarts are usually the biggest cowards. If a woman cheated on you, there is no need to look for reasonable reasons. Female infidelity does not exist. There is either revenge for a new love, or for a man's betrayal. All kinds of frankness and honesty are terrible crimes in the eyes of society. You forget that the fruits belong to all, and that the land belongs to no one. Virtue is a state of war, and to live in it, we have always to combat with ourselves. I have never believed that man's freedom consisted in doing what he wants, but rather in never doing what he does not want to do. Religious persecutors are not believers. They are rascals. All of my misfortunes come from having thought too well of my fellows. No one is happy unless he respects himself. I may be no better, but at least I am different. It is unnatural for a majority to rule, for a majority can seldom be organized and united for specific action, and a minority can.